You are being paid to die, not metaphorically, not in some office burnout, soul-crushing way. Literally, the federal government has looked at your job, run the numbers, and decided your life is worth a hazard differential. And every single morning, you strap on your gear and say yes anyway. This is the career of a high-voltage lineman. Even though without you, none of this works. Not the hospital keeping someone alive right now. Not the phone in your hand. Nothing. Level 1, apprentice lineman. You do not start on the pole. You start on the ground. And that is not an insult. That is the education. Your first week, someone hands you a hard hat and a pair of rubber gloves that look like they belong in a nuclear facility. They explain that the gloves are not optional. They explain this once. They do not explain it again, because if you need it explained twice, you are already a liability. You are now an apprentice in a 4-year to 5-year Joint Apprenticeship Training Committee program, or JATC, typically run through the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, the IBU. You are earning somewhere between $18 and $24 an hour depending on your region, and that number climbs in steps as you clear each year of training. You are also going to school, real school, nights and weekends, mathematics, electrical theory, blueprint reading, load calculations. The union does not care that you are exhausted. The pole does not care either. Your job right now is to watch. Watch how the journeyman moves. Watch how he reads the line before he touches anything. Watch how he never, and you will notice this, never assumes the line is dead. He tests it, every time, even if he de-energized it himself, even if he watched someone else lock it out. He tests it. You file that away like it is scripture. The physical work in year 1 is unglamorous. You are digging. You are hauling. You are handing tools up to someone 20 feet above your head and making sure the wrench you pass does not have a loose head that will come down and remove someone from the workforce permanently. You are learning what every single component is called. Because when a journeyman yells for a hot stick at 30 feet in the air during a restoration job at 2 a.m., you do not say the long pole thing. Your hands are destroyed by the end of every week. Your back is not far behind. But something is also happening that you do not fully register yet. You are building a map in your head. Substations, transmission lines, distribution lines. The difference between 12,000 volts on a distribution line and 500,000 volts on a transmission tower. You are learning that electricity does not arc toward you because it is mean. It arcs toward you because you are a path to ground. It is not personal. It will kill you anyway. By year 2 you are climbing, not transmission towers yet, but distribution poles, the 35 to 45 foot wooden poles that line every suburban street in America. You learn to climb with hooks strapped to your boots called gaffs, digging them into the wood with your body weight, moving with a rhythm that takes weeks to find and feels like riding a bicycle once you have it. You learn to trust your gear with your full weight at the top because if you do not trust it completely, your hesitation becomes a problem. Hesitation at height is its own hazard. You also learn the thing nobody tells you before you start. The electricity you are working with on these lines is not like the outlet in your kitchen. A 120-volt outlet at home can stop your heart under the right conditions. You are now regularly working adjacent to 7,200 to 14,400 volts on energized distribution lines. Enough to vaporize flesh at contact. Enough that the safety rule is not be careful but rather maintain minimum approach distance and treat every conductor as live until you personally verify otherwise with calibrated equipment. You will never stop following that rule. The linemen who stopped following that rule are not here to tell you about it. Level 2, Journeyman Lineman. You pass your journeyman exam after 4 to 5 years and something shifts. Not just in the paycheck, though that shift is real. Journeyman lineman wages in the United States sit between $38 and $52 an hour as of recent years. And with overtime during storm season or emergency restoration, annual income regularly clears 6 figures. What shifts is the weight. You are now the one responsible. You are the one the apprentices are watching. You are the one who sets the tone for whether the crew runs sloppy or runs tight. And the crews that run sloppy are the ones that have incidents. You are now qualified to work energized lines. This is called live line or hot work. And it is exactly what it sounds like. The line is carrying full voltage. You are working on it. The reason this is not immediately insane is a methodology called minimum approach distance, a calculated buffer maintained between your body and energized conductors based on the voltage class of the line you are working. For a standard distribution line, that distance is calculated in inches. For a 500 kilovolt transmission line, that distance is measured in feet. You know these numbers the way you know your own address. There are 2 primary methods for live line work. Rubber glove technique means your protection is your insulated gloves and sleeves, rated and tested to specific voltage classes. Before every job, you roll the gloves, Push air in. Listen for the exhale of a pinhole. You do this every single time. A glove that failed its test yesterday is a glove that kills you today. Bare hand technique, used primarily on high voltage transmission lines, means you are actually in direct electrical contact with the conductor. You are brought to the conductor by helicopter or insulated aerial lift, bonded to the line so you and the line are at the same potential, and you work from that state. The danger is not being on the line. The danger is the transition. The moment you go from ground potential to line potential, if anything goes wrong, you are the arc. As a journeyman you work storm restoration, and this is where the mythology of the profession lives. When a hurricane, ice storm, or derecho tears through a region and takes out the grid, the calls go out across the country to every utility cooperative and contractor. Crews mobilize from states away, driving bucket trucks through the night, pulling into devastated areas at 4 a.m. You are also standing in floodwater running a bucket truck on lines that may have unknown damage conditions, working in the rain, in the dark, under pressure from a public that needs power restored and an operator who is tracking every hour. You do not complain about this. This is the job. This is why the job matters. Level 3, Lineman Foreman. The jump to foreman is not a technical promotion. It is a leadership promotion, and the industry makes this distinction clearly because plenty of exceptional journeymen have no interest in it and no one holds that against them. If you take the foreman role, you are now running a crew, typically 4 to 8 people. You are the one who reads the job packet the night before, walks the site in the morning, identifies the hazards, writes the tailgate safety briefing, and signs your name to the plan. When something goes wrong on your job, investigators look at what you signed. Your technical skills are now less important than your ability to communicate clearly under pressure, because the situations where communication breaks down are the situations where people get hurt. You are running a crew replacing aging infrastructure on a live 12,470-volt feeder while maintaining service to a hospital on the same circuit. You are doing this with a crew where one journeyman has 12 years of experience and another has 8 months. You are managing both of those realities simultaneously while coordinating with the control room. Foreman pay typically adds $1.50 to $3 per hour above journeyman scale, but the hours are longer and the paperwork is not optional. You are also now the person who has the conversation with an apprentice who is getting sloppy. Not a long conversation, not a gentle one. The kind of conversation that lands because they understand exactly what sloppiness costs in this trade. Level 4, the general foreman and superintendent. You are no longer on the pole every day. This is the part that is quietly hard for people who genuinely love the work, but the scope has expanded to where your value is in orchestrating multiple crews across multiple job sites, managing the sequencing of a large infrastructure project, and serving as the link between field operations and project management. A general foreman might be overseeing 3 to 6 crews on a major transmission line build-out, a new substation tie-in, or a large-scale underground conversion project. Superintendent level means you are managing the entire field operation for a significant project, coordinating with engineers, project managers, and client representatives, managing equipment logistics and labor scheduling across shifts. Compensation at this level starts to move into salary territory. General foremen and field superintendents in the electrical construction and utility industries regularly earn between $95,000 and $150,000 annually, with the high end pushed significantly higher on large transmission or offshore projects. You are also now the person utilities and contractors call when a project has gone sideways. Not sideways in the paperwork sense. Sideways in the sense that a major component was sequenced incorrectly and now the energization schedule is at risk and there are contract penalties in play. You walk the site, you talk to the crew foreman, you find the actual state of the job underneath the status reports, and you build a recovery plan. This is a different skill set entirely and it took you every year of the previous levels to develop it. Level 5, Transmission Lineman. Let us stop here because this track deserves its own level in this career, and it does not fit neatly into the foreman progression. Transmission linemen work on the high voltage backbone of the grid. These are the tall steel lattice towers you see crossing open country, carrying 115 kilovolts, 230 kilovolts, 345 kilovolts, up to 765 kilovolts on the highest voltage lines in North America. This is a specialization within the lineman trade that not everyone pursues, and the ones who do are operating in a different physical and psychological environment. You are no longer working at 40 feet. You are working at heights of 100 to 200 feet on a tower structure with no bucket truck access. Tower climbing is its own physical discipline, requiring fall protection rigging competency at every anchor point transition, full comfort with heights that most people cannot conceptualize from the ground, and the ability to perform technically demanding work at the end of a long climb with muscles already loaded. The minimum approach distances at transmission voltage are serious numbers. At 345 kilovolts, the established minimum approach distance for qualified workers is over 10 feet. The energy available in a fault on a transmission line can produce an arc flash with temperatures exceeding 35,000 degrees Fahrenheit. This is not hyperbole. This is the figure that appears in IEEE standards documents. Bare-hand transmission work, mentioned earlier, is performed by a small population of highly specialized linemen who train extensively on the technique before performing it in the field. They are brought to the conductor on insulated aerial devices or via helicopter. The helicopter method involves a lineman sitting on a skid or in a side-mounted platform while the pilot positions the aircraft to within the working distance of a live 500 kilovolt conductor. Then the lineman makes contact, establishes potential equalization, and performs the work. The FAA, OSHA, and the utility all have something to say about how this is conducted. It happens anyway, because the alternative is taking the line out of service, which carries its own massive economic and reliability consequences. Transmission lineman pay reflects the specialization. Experienced transmission linemen often earn at or above general foreman rates.